Traditionally, ships carry pairs of lifeboats that are launched over the sides by davits. There are three types you might see. Totally enclosed lifeboats, which are carried on many cargo ships. Partially enclosed lifeboats, which are carried on passenger ships, and on many newer cargo ships, a single lifeboat that free falls down a ramp and over the stern of the ship. These are always totally enclosed for obvious reasons, as they dive into the water and can be partly submerged during launching. An auxiliary davit or crane is fitted to recover the boat after drills. It can also lower it into the water if there is an obstruction in the drop zone. As gas, chemical and oil tankers carry flammable or toxic cargoes that can give off vapors that surround the sinking ship, their lifeboats have a 10-minute supply of fresh air inside. Tankers that carry flammable cargoes, such as crude oil, will also have a water spray system to give extra protection while launching into a gas cloud or burning sea. Whatever type of lifeboat you use, they will be brightly coloured and rigid. They will also have an engine that is capable of powering the lifeboat at a speed of at least 6 knots for 24 hours, and a selection of equipment inside to help you survive. There are interior and exterior lights, 2 painters and a means to board from the water. Inside, there should be 2 boat hooks, a buoyant bailer, 2 buckets, a manual pump, 2 hatchets, a fire extinguisher for an oil fire, fuel, tools for the engine, a sea anchor, a magnetic compass, and oars for non-free-fall boats. There will also be a life-saving signal chart, including a signalling mirror, a signalling torch, parachute, hand flares and buoyant smoke signals, and a radar reflector. There will also be a first aid kit, anti-seasickness medicine and seasickness bags, 2 buoyant rescue quoits and lines, and TPAs. Lastly, there will be a survival manual, 3 litres of water per person, food and tin openers, and fishing tackle. Before launching any survival craft, look around to check there are no obstructions in the water. Overside emergency lights are provided to be used at night, and the person in charge will normally act as coxswain, steering the boat and controlling the launching. Launching procedures vary according to the type of boat being used. Free-fall lifeboats are boarded in the stowed position and launched from inside. In an emergency, the typical launching procedure will be to disconnect any power supply to the boat and check that any safety chains used for maintenance have been disconnected. Get everyone boarded and then close the door. Everyone must be seated with their safety belt fastened. Momentum will carry the lifeboat away from the ship when launched, but start the engine anyway and put the rudder to midships. Totally enclosed lifeboats are boarded in the stowed position and launched from inside. In an emergency, the typical launching procedure will be to make sure the painter is properly secured and disconnect any power supply to the boat. Get everyone boarded, release the gripes, and then close the door. Everyone should be seated with their safety belt fastened. Once the engine has started, the coxswain pulls the brake release cable, and the lifeboat lowers itself to the water under gravity. When waterborne, the coxswain releases the full hooks. Partially enclosed lifeboats are lowered to an embarkation deck before boarding. This allows large numbers of passengers to be embarked quickly. In an emergency, the procedure is to disconnect any power supply to the boat and remove the securing gripes. The lifeboat can then be lowered to the embarkation deck. It will be brought neatly alongside, either by tracing pennants or by the pre-adjusted bowsing gear. When the passengers are boarded and seated, Start the engine. Slacken off the bowsing gear to enable the boat to swing clear of the ship, and then remove it. The lifeboat should then be lowered to the water using the remote brake release, and then release the full hooks when waterborne.